new studio amp aficionados. I'm sorry, my brain is messed up. I've been battling a fever and a cold and flu for a while. Then I gave it to Leslie, who was switching. So if the switching's off, she's, fluish, and I'm fluid. So, but the show must go on. The amp comes out. Therefore, here's the video. It's not going to be a good one because messed up. I am a big fan of the Laney LA-30BL. It is a one-channel 30-watt behemoth. I think you get it in 102, which is completely pointless because, oh my god, the 30 is so brutal. Something about Tony Iommi from the Beatles. I don't know where the guy played. He wears all black and plays an SG and something about... The point is, the guy plays for Taylor Swift and needs massive sounds. And the amp is, the LA-30BL is a one-channel, non-master volume thing. It does crank rather nicely, but at volumes that kill you, so you need an attenuator or IR load or something like this. But it is one of the, if not the, best pedal platform amp on the market. When I did the Friedman BE pedal and Dave Friedman was sitting back there, his jaw dropped. He's like, what the fuck is that amp that we're going through right now? It is so dynamic and punchy. It's an amazing amp. But it is tough to realistically use in a lot of situations because of its volume and non-masteriness. Also no effects loop, all of this. Well, Laney went ahead, did the traditional thing that this amp is known for, made it quite a bit more tameable, and put a torpedo in it. Because that's what you do when you want the best direct out, period. And this is what it looks like. It's the LA something country custom LA-Studio, I think. So it really looks like the big one. It is definitely smaller. However, it is, on this setting, 3 watts, so definitely not really giggable. I mean, Jason said, hey, it gets loud, but at 3 watt, you'd be hard-pressed to fight against the drummer. And then here, which is a mistake I made in the beginning, we're going to, I think, 0.1 watt. 3 watt is really still not living room level, especially without a master volume. 0.1 watt, you can absolutely play without disturbing the neighbors. So that's a really cool feature. Other than that, light, presence, bass, middle, treble, and volume, which is also your gain because it's a non-master volume amp. We've got 2 treble inputs, 2 bass inputs, as these traditional amps go. I bridged this one, don't know if it does anything, but we'll find out. And if we look in the back, this is really super simple. There's speakers, 8 and 16 ohms. There's MIDI for more than the 6 included presets. USB to hook it up to your computer. And virtual cabinet 1 through 6. Anything else you access through MIDI. Level, it shows you peak. There's a tiny little headphone out. I wish that was a bigger one. There is a ground lift. Ground link? Should be ground lift. I don't know. And the XLR professional output. Now, these things do not instill a lot of, what's it called? Confidence, because these are made for Smurfs. I mean, why not put a real man's knob on there? Why not a chicken head, whatever? These things say, I'm sorry, this says China crap quality. Sorry, Laney, why? This thing is about $1,000, and I do not want, look at this. Wait, how do we see it? Look at this. Do you see how that knob wiggles here when I push it? Which means it is on the PCB without being attached to the chassis. And right now I'm literally pushing on the PCB. This one is a clicky, it's a little bit more, but manipulating this and clicking it, you feel like you need fucking tweezers to do this. So why not put real knobs on this, and why have it not attached like these are to the chassis. Why is it directly through a hole on the PCB? I don't know. They work, but this does not instill a lot of confidence in the quality of the product, I must say. Now we play it. It is a studio amp, so that's why you have the DI out. You can pick a speaker. I think it is really meant to be used with pedals, and it does crank itself rather nicely. If it does, which it does, why isn't there an effects loop? Because in a studio, wouldn't you want your your time-based effects behind your power amp? Yes, you would. So I know they're going with the traditional approach that the LA-30BL had. All non-master volume and all that plexi-ish, whatever. It's not a plexi. But not giving it an effects loop is a massive oversight, I think. So this is a Valiant Soothsayer, my spec with Alder, Wenge neck, maple fretboard, P90 from Bare Knuckle, humbucker from Bare Knuckle. This is a good guitar. So let's take the bridging out. We're going into the treble input, and this is what it sounds like with preset number 1, which is I think a 412. I gotta say that they included presets, all of them Laney caps, I think 212s and 412s, are rather nicely voiced. Usually I'm not happy with the presets that some of these amps come with. This is rather decent. If you're wondering why there's a hole right there, that's where the amp lives now. So I had to take it out. Go into the bass input. It is a little bit darker. And now we bridge it. Like the Jones lady, you know? Bridget Jones. I think she had a diary. See how far the gain can get us on 10. Definite fuzz-esque vibes, blown up amp tones without killing my ears in a studio setting. More treble, there you go. I mean, it's doing what an EQ is supposed to do. We could, of course, completely push the EQ. To really push the amp even more. Kind of already was quite a bit up there. Let's go and push it with, I don't know, the Jackson Audio Golden Boy in boost mode. I could turn this into a lead sound by putting delay on it, which I can't because the amp doesn't have an effects loop. So let's put the halo from Keeley in between and see what happens. Not ideal, but it can work. Let's go and put a drive in front of it, which is Timmy-ish. Let's put the boost in there as well. can it take pedals? Well, fuck yes. And then if you're pushing the amp itself, it brings itself in more and gives you that classic rocky blown upness with the slightest, when you're really there, fuzz undertones. Let's skip through a couple of the included presets, for which I have to fiddle with the back. I really like that third one. And the last one. No, I didn't fiddle with the level. It seems the level is less on number 6. There's a big cathedral happening, you hear that? And we go back to number 1. And with the magic of what Leslie can do, that's the software. Hooked up with USB. Now, there is a version of the Two Notes embedded module with Bluetooth. And I wish it had that, because that means I could pull out my phone and do any of these adjustments on my freaking phone. Why would you have your laptop in the rehearsal room? Why would you have your laptop on stage? What if the guy in front of house says, oh, it's all nice, but can you roll off the low end a little bit? No, you cannot. Not the low end on your speaker. Only on the amp, which is of course a different thing. So being able to adjust that on the fly is a good thing. And I wish Laney had sprung, because it's a studio amp, for the bigger version. The bigger version, which is actually in the Ref Gen 120, for example, also has dual XLR outs. It has dual XLR outs and can also give you one DI signal without cab on it and one with cab on it. It can do dual cabs, it can do stereo, it can do twin tracking, it can do quite a bit, and has aforementioned Bluetooth. So as a studio tool, that would have been the better one to use, but of course it clocks in at more money. So what we see here are the two mics. I can literally go and grab this 57 and move it around, and you can see down there how the axis moves. I can go to the B, which is a ribbon, and I can move that around back and forth and whatever I want. You can mute one and only hear the ribbon. For the nice chunky stuff, and now for the twizzle. Or I just skip one ahead and then back, and then we got what we had. There is a power amp simulation, which of course you don't need because the amp has a power amp. So sending a power amp through a power amp, I wouldn't. On the Ref D20, for example, which is using the same software and all that stuff, there is a version to go pre or post, meaning you could only use the preamp and then use a different virtual power amp. I would never do that because I want to use the real tube power amp. So you have an option on the Rev to do that. On the Laney, you do not. And that being said, I'm being paid by Laney to make this video, but I'm being followed by you to give you all the information you need. So therefore, I mention what the Konkurrenz, as we say in German, what the competition is doing differently. There's a gate, which is very neat. It works, because you get rid of all this shit. Quiet as a mouse. You have full EQ, guitar, bass, or custom, and you can completely tweak it. I'm not the hugest fan of that because you're gonna tweak yourself into oblivion and come up with stuff that just isn't realistic sounding. You can, if you really want to tame some frequencies, realistically pick the right freaking cab, go with it, and adjust the mics. Enhancer's kind of nice. You get more mids, more treble, more whatever. Earthy thickness mids, body. And brilliance, of course, is top end. And then there's a beautiful reverb. And I actually prefer the custom setting, if they have that. Custom. Get the size of that down. Well, why is it so huge? Here we go. And actually put it in that room. That room is, or a room is why the aux sounds so good. A little bit more. Now it sounds like you're actually miking it in a live room. Pretty much it for here. Of course, you can load your own IRs, which I recommend not to do. Two Notes has a billion amazing cabs where you can move around the mics and all of this, which is really an easy way to adjust it. And I think $8 a cab, and then they have the whole packages and all that from every manufacturer you want. When you load an IR, it's one snapshot of one mic in one position and blah, blah, blah. I'm never a fan of loading up an IR and saying, oh, that's the sound, because I've never had the sound. With moving the mics around in the dynamic IR, which is what they're calling this, DynIR software, or wall of sound, or the remote, or whatever. It's so easy to quickly get the right sound, instead of going through 70,000 IRs in certain positions with certain mics. I'm just not a fan. Here is the cabinet manager, and as you can see, I own a billion cabinets because whenever they got something new, they hook me up. For me, it's the Fortin UK30 412, super nice and balanced, and I could easily, because I have it, move it over. What is on the amp right now are there any 412 and 212, a Bridge 65C, blah, blah, blah. These on the right here are the ones that the amp comes with, which is already a nice collection. Everything else you get in the Two Notes software. There's a preset manager. You can have them on your computer, blah, 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 and move them back and forth. Here are the 6 that are on there. But of course, you can have up to 128. And the rest you select with MIDI, which is very nice. I don't see you needing more than 6. I don't see you needing more than 2 or 3, realistically. Here's the IR manager. And you can also, when it comes to what's available in terms of cabs, you can say bass, guitar, favorites, what's on your computer, what's online. And I think when you go to online or something, There's a shop somewhere. Oh, that's nice. But when we look at the included presets, you can see that's a Laney 212, Laney 412, Laney 212, Laney 412. Of course, they're loading it up with all the Laney cabs. And it's also a very good cab. The 212 actually is a 412 shaped, slightly smaller cab, and it's a good one. So that's the software. You have to hook it up with USB, which I think is a downside. But realistically, once you have your presets, who gives a crap on it? And since it is, what am I saying? Since it is a studio amp, do you need it live? Why am I talking about live and bitching about Bluetooth not being there? You're not gonna realistically take this live. Can you? Yes, because you can play it with the band and then you have it in front of house with XLR and then it comes out of a monitor speaker or in-ears because it's not gonna be loud enough against your band. So you can use this live, but that's obviously not what it's made for. It's made for you in the studio with a bunch of pedals, getting classic rock and roll sounds with, get an edge of breakup, push a little bit more, pumping those with perfect speaker simulation directly into your DAW. That's what it's made for, and it pretty much delivers on that level. That being said, get rid of this. Thank you. I think we've had, sound, there you go. We boosted it, we driveted it, we did everything. That's it. Laney LA-Studio from the, why can I never remember that? Something, Black Country Customs. Is it Laney? Is it Black Country Customs? I don't know. Black Country Custom, that's just the line of pedals and amps. Something with the guy that played for Taylor Swift or someone else. Tony someone. I don't know musicians, I just know music, and not even that. Again, big fan of the LA-30BL. This has its DNA. It's not exactly the same, it can't be. If you don't have a 30-watt power amp, if you have a 3-watt power amp, it will be different. But it is twisted to be a studio tool. Now, I wish it had Bluetooth, it would make it easier. I wish it had an effects loop. An effects loop would really be desirable on this thing. It doesn't. Okay, so why would you buy it? Well, if you want those rock sounds, those sounds from the 60s and 70s when people blew up their amps, that in a very useful studio tool that goes directly into your computer with the best software and Dynaya collection out there, which is Two Notes. You all know I like the stuff, and you do. That's the way to go. Now, there are other amps that do it. As I said it, the Rev D20. Now, the D20, you put it on edge of breakup. It can be a little bit more. Is the D20 with a 6v6 power amp the classic rock tone? No. It's a different kind of amp for different sounds. Similar idea. Higher in price. More wattage if you want to play live, because it got 20 watts. However, that's 20 watts with 6v6, so still not massively loud and band compatible. But what the LA-30 gives you is that classic rock, blown up power amp sound. And I can't think of another tool out there that does that and focuses on it as much as this amp does, with its no compromise, non-master volume, non-effects loop, and all that shit architecture. It also looks freaking cool. And again, it's based on an amp that I very, very much cherished. So that's all I can say. I'm going to put links below. If you use them, that helps me. Either Thomann or Sweetwater. If you want to buy it, just click the link. Doesn't cost you anything. Makes me a couple bucks. That's nice. Want to thank Laney and Jason for commissioning this video. Thank you so much. Hope that taught you something. And if not, there's other videos of it that can teach you more. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. You find out. And I was at the end.
It's getting ridiculous. Afraid of the obvious. We ain't know that it's better to leave now than not at all. Silence is killing us. I guess we just talked too much before, and it's better to leave now than not at all. Do you believe it's easy? Who said it would be? The truth never is, but you gotta release me. No need to talk, 'cause silence is bliss. Let's not go back to where we started.